why do we need to do the boot camps? What does boot camp involve?
Come from boot camp, that is when really you get to understand how much you really need to do to stand out and also be a good ambassador of now pageant. Back in the university, there's a gentleman that actually did tell me, you're fit to become Mr. University of Nairobi. This is a gentleman. He told me that.
So now that you've been brought in by a student leader, did this influence your winning? Did you feel like this guy talked to the judges for me to win?
My first project that I did is actually to just train models. I didn't charge. It was more like a CSR for me because I remember where I'd come from, knowing nothing about modeling and everything, modeling wholesomely.
I've noticed a lot of the misters and the kings,
Yes,
either becoming designers or helping sell fashion.
people will know what is happening in these institutions, pageant-wise, fashion-wise. So just molding people and making them understand what their role is was something that became a major project for me. I decided what I do, let me learn about whatever this guy is talking about, yeah? And I decided now to, find out now what's modeling, and now what is it about this, becoming Mr. and everything else I because I was totally green.
Wow, welcome back to Sash Style Season 2, last episode, episode 15. We can't thank God more. It's been a run, so we never believed or thought we'd get here, but with God's grace, we're here. Now, today, I have a very interesting, talented, multi-talented gentleman. He's a creative, he's a pastor, he has everything. I don't know how to introduce him, but Bana Peter, I would like you to not spoil your introduction. I want you to do it. I know you can do it better than me.
Thank you.
Yes.
My name is Felix Peter Otieno. Of course, I'm a creative, and I'm an actor, a model, and of course, a bit of pastor. Just understanding, the bit of wholesomely understanding, God's nature and really how to be right with God.
Great. This is wonderful. And I love where we are starting. One of the things that people have not understood in pageantry is there's so much spiritual in talent, in pageantry. One, you must love. Two, unity. Three, giving back to society. And takes me back to the Old Testament when they say the first beauty queen was Esther. The way Esther was chosen reflects pageantry. Most people do not understand the back of pageantry. All people see is the night of the event where the judges are busy. So I want you to help us understand the back, the 60% of pageantry.
Well, thank you for that really preamble, really. Pageantry really does involve a lot, just like you've mentioned. There is service to men as well. There is also what we call just being a good ambassador, being an ambassador to even self and also the particular industry, especially now, say when you're in pageantry will teach you a lot in terms of fashion, in terms of even relating with people. So being just an ambassador of whatever it is that the path in which you have chosen really to be is key. And that is really important, understanding that and running with it. In the end of the day, is service also to humanity, which is very, very key. Yes.
Rightful put. The last episode 14 had a lady who was a lawyer. She's a queen and a former first runners-up, second runners-up Miss Universe. And what she says, when she was on that stage, when she was called a second runners-up, she asked herself, why? I think the three of them, I think I should have won this. But her purpose, she says, when she got into the pageant, she asked God to give her the courage and the energy to be there. So whilst you're still there, and she has said, "Oh God, I'm sorry. I think this is where, for the in terms of purpose, I'm supposed to be here." I keep telling models, any of the people that go into question and answers can get the crown because it's the grace of God that they get it at that point in time.
Sure.
So I want you to just take them through. Why do we need to do the boot camps? What does boot camp involve? A lot of pageants do not know what boot camp is. They do. I wouldn't call it pageantry. I would call it a fashion show or runway, but it's branded as pageantry.
Yes.
The real pageantry.
Yes.
What? Tell our viewers what is pageantry.
Well,
Uh,
now, you just like you've mentioned, that really people have, say, more of a surface level understanding of pageantry. Yes, and even with boot camp, from boot camp, that is when really you get to understand how much you really need to do to stand out and also be a good ambassador of now pageantry. Now, in terms of really relating with people, right? And there is also understanding of what your purpose is beyond just the runway. You know, when you realize that probably people come in for the show, you know, like you said, what you see is what is happening on the night probably of the event or even the day of the event, assuming it's happening during the day. We expect that the kind of show that you go present on this particular day, on this particular, say, finale, becomes it. So you realize some people really do put a lot of energy for the last day.
yes. The stage, yes.
For the last day of you know, when you are doing now the runway bit. And then you realize that there's a lot of really learning. There's a lot of learning and unlearning on matters pageantry and what is it exactly you are going to do. This is where you actually get also sometimes some models get to realize themselves, what their purpose is, and probably also to hone that bit that they have in even creativity and everything else like that. Because this is where you get to interact with different models. You also get to interact with facilitators, so that from that point you get to sharpen your skills, be it people relations, be it, of course, there are also sessions for catwalk and everything else like that. But more of it is the build-up. The boot camp is more like a build-up to this individual, you know, the molding bit of self. So that what we see on the finale, that just is more like, how do you call it? There's the process and then there's the outcome. It just becomes also a bit of you know, yeah, so more of the building of self and also understanding of particularly what is it I am here for? Why is it that I'm going for this pageant? Why is it I'm participating in this pageant? Vis-a-vis even the rest. You're looking at the rest and they're like, everyone else, of course, is engrossed in whatever it is they are working on, probably the projects or anything like that. But this is where you really get to hone how you handle, how you approach the whole concept of being a model, being a pageant model. If you're keen enough, you get to learn from your fellow participants, you know, contestants, say, and also you get to learn from the facilitators, because that is where there's a lot of really mental work, you know, yeah, beyond just walking. Yeah.
Very well put. And I think it's usually very difficult to talk after a creative, an actor, a man of God. I'm feeling it's very hard for me to interview. So anyway, we are at that part where we know very well that there's so much behind the scene. And part of the reason why Sash Style is here is to educate that person at home who thinks the night of the event is the event. I tell my models, I tell the world out there, the night of the event is showbiz, and showbiz is show business. So there's not much that they gain off there. There's now the part where you sweat and struggle. It's just like politics,
Exactly.
where a party releases their aspirants to go out there to sell their manifesto. Then they come to the party nomination and say, this is the man who's going to represent us. Then they go
Yes.
for a competition. So when you look at it, it's almost the same thing. So if you don't work very hard on the grassroots, the party will not give you an opportunity to go and represent.
Sure.
Because see, when you go to the boot camp, then come and present, win the national event, then go internationally to represent the country. So what we need to learn is there's so much to be done. You need to learn to be perseverance. Sometimes you're waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, like the military camp. So you have to go and run early morning.
Yes.
I mean, somebody believes I'm a queen. I need to be handled like a handbag. So I don't need to run.
You need princess treatment.
Yes, princess treatment. Then you're in the wrong place because then you need to go and do the runway. You're taught etiquette. You're going to meet with the world best. A girl who's representing America, who's been in New York all her life. A South African who lives in Cape Town,
Sure.
understand the fine wines. So for us that we are now being educated, we need to learn, we need to take them through that etiquette. So you don't just go there because you're from my shags in Usenge. You want to eat with your hands. No. So there's those things. Some people feel it very hard, but we're giving you an opportunity where you're able to be at that stage that you can contest with the international.
Yes.
Every game has its laws and rules. For example, in football, if you do a mistake at the box, it's a penalty.
It is.
So you can't say we need to change the rules and stuff. And pageantry also has rules that people haven't really learned. And that's why we're here to educate and let guys know that behind the work, there's something.
Sure.
So we've been talking about that, and someone will ask, who is this guy? What has he done to be able to teach us these facts that he's giving? So we're going back to Mr. Peter. You've been a model, you train model, you've judged models. When did you realize you have the potential of being a model? When? How?
Well,
They say when I was walking to Damascus,
yes.
the light came.
Yeah.
So, turn to Paul. Yeah? So when was that moment that your Paul came in? Yes.
Well, mine was more like, back in the university, there's a gentleman that actually did tell me, you're fit to become Mr. University of Nairobi. This is a gentleman. He told me that. Personally, he said, I come from a village, and I went to a village school, even through high school, village school. It was a very good school, can't lie.
And what is this school? Yeah? What is this school? The village?
It's Baranda High School. Oh. Village,
yeah, I know Baranda.
Yeah. So now from there, coming to Nairobi, and then of course just, by the virtue we were friends with this gentleman, and that he was actually a student leader at the University of Nairobi. And then also my interest in just joining, university politics, that is when it pulled me to the center, you're fit to become Mr. University of Nairobi from there. And then now I decided what I do, let me learn about whatever this guy is talking about. Yeah. And I decided now to, find out now what's modeling, and now what is it about this, becoming Mr. and everything else. Because I was totally green. So of course I got to do my own research. It took me 2 years. This guy told me about this thing in 2013. It took me 2 years to get to understand what this really means. So 2015, and now I went out, after just seeing, of course, I used to see guys put on suits. I think I've said this before. Guys put on suits. Like myself, I used to put on suits. But now channeling it into, the fashion world and everything else like that. So I got that, of course, advice from this gentleman. Then I just finding out. So I found out about modeling through now my own research, and also getting to interact with, people.
The models, yes.
Yes.
So what you're saying is you need to do research. You
It's
need to
research, a lot of it.
do due diligence.
Yes.
Now, a lot of people are told you look nice in that suit and you can make a good model, and they just jump. They go there and lose, and they think, "Hey, Brother Felix, you lied to me. I'm not a model." But the problem is they've jumped from the sophia into the fire.
Yes,
They'll
yes.
get burned.
Yeah, it's like there's potential.
Yes.
That must be honed.
Yes,
Something
yes.
like that. So somebody has potential and they're like, let me go.
Let me just do it,
Instead of
yes.
finding out how
Yeah.
to direct that. Yes.
Yeah, so I think in this world, there's always every step must be taken. You can't miss one step. Then you miss one step, you go 2 steps behind.
No shortcuts.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you're at the Nairobi University and you're now a model. Do you get into contesting for the University of Nairobi Mr. and Miss?
Sorry?
Do you get to contest now that you've discovered, you've done a lot of research?
Yes.
Do you now say, I want to see if I can become a king in this great university?
Well, but the fact that this gentleman did tell me that, I'm fit to become Mr. University of Nairobi. I think that one was when the Mr. University of Nairobi pageant was in a recess for 4 years. Yes, the last Mr. Benjamin, he was Mr. for 4 years, but of course, he had now graduated. So there was that void. So this gentleman who was in the student union, who was able to probably see this. So he told me. So then me finding out about all this and so when that opportunity arose, then I said, okay, let me go for it. Yes, let me go for it. Now that became actually my first time even training work. The rest was just surface, of course, level information regarding what modeling is, and probably what is it that will be required of of a model. But now, this is now when I came now to sharpen now my working skills, because now I knew the rest. I wouldn't say that probably I had it 100%. Yes, but I had at least something to keep me going, and also just more like a base. So I went in there. And I found these guys. So I trained. I was trained catwalk, including now just sharpening a bit of, that which I didn't quite well understand about modeling. Now I got to also, get that information, including even etiquette and everything else like that. And understanding differences. There's a facilitator, and then there's me, a model, and then there's another model with some ego, and so I got really to understand where my place is. Yes, to be the person that is probably expected.
Yeah, so something that has really been very controversial in the university pageants, or just the overall pageants. One of the things is people complain about the winner. Oh, this guy knew the judges, or this guy didn't deserve it, and stuff like that. And mostly at the university, the student leaders play a lot of that influence to the judges.
Yes.
So now that you've been brought in by a student leader, did this influence your winning? Did you feel like this guy talked to the judges for me to win? Or was it just your BD that made you this guy, Mr. It's not just a university, Nairobi University is the best university in Kenya.
Actually, something fun.
Yes.
When this guy told me you're fit to become Mr. This is what again he added. Please do not fail us. Please do not fail us means there's something I need to work on myself, so that by the time I get to this competition, I should not fail them. How do I not fail? Not showing up. So it means I have to show up.
Yes.
And himself, he was not that he was probably having a position specifically. He was a low-level student leader. You understand, but somebody also who has a depth, understanding of fashion.
Yeah.
Only that he didn't have the guts to participate. Probably he wasn't interested, or himself he wasn't that
Confident enough.
You see, in this world there are people that have an idea about something, probably 100% of how it is, but they are not themselves. They are not the person. They look at this and they see, I'm not the person to be this.
Yes.
So we will take him for that.
Good.
Now he told me, please show up.
Yes.
Like do not waste us.
Yes.
So it means that first,
Yeah.
it is not their doing or his doing that I became this. He's doing in the sense that he did not probably talk to somebody. The person he talked to is me, motivating me, and really. So when I go to the, I said, well, I understand. But back in the day, we say senior. You understand?
Yeah.
There's junior student, senior student, senior. I understand. I'll do my best, including just having a wholesome, representation of self, from physicals to also mental, preparation, and also people relations, which is very, very important. Yes.
So you are done and you've won the crown as the king of the university. There are a lot of things that it comes with responsibility. Like we started this humanity, the CSR. There's just being that perfect person. That you're the king you are. We cannot let us see the tear of the queen or the king. I remember when our current president was deputy president and he was tearing everywhere at the churches. People judged him as a weakling. So it's just natural that a king must show the bravery. So tell us about the university with 9 campuses in Nairobi alone. How did you handle your leadership, your humanity, your CSR at the University of Nairobi?
But now, thank you very much for that question, really, because I do remember quite well modeling back then in the University of Nairobi wasn't something that you could report something positive about. Also within the CBD, because Nairobi, University of Nairobi, I'm from main campus. I was from main campus. We CBD iko tu hapo. And right now, there are a number of modeling schools or even academies that do train. Back in the day, there weren't so many of them. They weren't actually there. So my first project that I did is actually to just train models. I didn't charge. It was more like a CSR for me, because I remember where I'd come from, knowing nothing about modeling and everything, modeling wholesomely. So I go to train a number of models. It's funny, 3 years later, most of them became Misters and Misses in a number of pageants within the country. And that was a plus. And then now there are a number of course, satellite campuses in University of Nairobi, 9 then. Right now there could be more. Yes. Still, even the same problem we had within main campus was still some of the problems also in these satellite campuses. And I happened to actually judge a number of them. You understand? Now, from the level of understanding how this thing works, I was able really to stand firm in what is required of models, and even for Misters and Misses of the various campuses. I was able to to help them understand what is required for this crown, and so that they be good ambassadors of pageant, or good ambassadors of fashion, even fashion, to the school and also to just outside the country, because people will know what is happening in these institutions, pageant-wise, fashion-wise. So just molding people and making them understand what their role is was something that became a major project for me. So it's not just guys just getting crowns and then they're relaxing, waiting for, what comes. No, I did a lot of really going to is before the preparations, just making also the organizers understand that we will just want somebody that is well liked, is a bit of well liked. They have to be somebody who is not just well known, not just well liked, but also somebody who is up to the task.
Yes.
Yes.
So you did very well in terms of, I would call it, you didn't go to dirty your hands
I know.
in the streets of the children's home, but you brought back education, which is very, very important in the society that we live in. Like say you come from the school, Miranda, which is next to my village home, Senge. I don't even think at that time they knew what pageantry is. Maybe you tell them we're going for a swimming competition or something like that. You're bringing that education that you've learned in the 3 years, which is beautiful. Not so many kings or queens want to give their knowledge to pass their knowledge. And I think this is now the problem, that we are having so many beauty queens and kings without knowledge.
We have no knowledge here.
We have so many choreographers who do not understand pageantry. If you can't understand pageantry, then you'll mess up a generation. There's a generation that is messed up. And I'm grateful you got some people who later on became good kings, maybe choreographers, designers, and stuff like that. So we're still in the university business.
Yes.
Now, in your years then, there was Mr. and Miss University. Was the Nairobi University able to take you to the national event? I remember a very stubborn dean at main campus, what's his name?
Father Mugunda.
Father Mugunda, the famous Martha Karua. Father was a difficult guy, trying to explain to him, but very smart guy. Was he able to give you the opportunity to contest among men? Sometimes when you're in your village, you feel you're the king in the village. You need to taste the waters out there and say, yeah. When our president felt he's the king of Africa, the guy from Burkina Faso, Mr. Toure, came, and the world is talking about Burkina Faso and the president. So are you able to go 2 steps ahead and go to the university, and what did you find there?
All right. Thank you for that question. Just if you allow me, just to go back a little bit
Yes, please.
on the project,
Please.
because I remember there's also something I did on children's. No, that was actually not children's home, but more of a school inside. Is it somewhere around South B? There's a slum around South.
Yes, it's called Kwajenga Mkuru.
Yeah, could be Kwajenga Mkuru.
Yes.
Around there, there are schools. Me and I used to be part of a charity organization, student charity organization in the school. So we actually did go to the school, and then we did a number of this, just educating them and also making them understand why they need to be, in school, because not so many of the slum boys and girls would want to go to the classes. Yes, so the ones that did manage to get to the classes, it was worth convincing them why this is important, and why probably just being here would probably help them change some things that probably they want change in the future. So back to the question on the university's support on pageantry. I tell you, even today, I spoke the other day to the current Miss University of Nairobi, and it's even worse. Sad to say. This is, I think, a problem that needs to be addressed with the stakeholders. Father Wambugunda was bad. I can't lie, he was bad.
Yeah.
He was an academician. It's academics. This is what brought you here.
Yes,
You
yes, yes.
understand?
Yeah.
This is what brought you here. Apart from academics, there was also the bit of now spiritual development. He was a Catholic father, so
Yes.
he had people from is it YCS?
Yes,
Those
yes,
ones.
yes.
Those ones. If you are not coming in from the other side,
Yeah.
wewe kwisha.
They'll see you what books.
Yeah. It was tough.
Yes, yes.
It was tough. And it is still tough even today. I think there's something that these institutions do not understand. You see, like University of Nairobi, we have a fashion and design school.
Yes.
You understand? In the School of Architecture and Design, there's fashion and design. And they're actually good designers who've come out of University of Nairobi, and they're doing so well outside here. You see now, if the school won't understand this bit, it becomes a problem. It becomes a problem. And as we normally say, there's always a start to something.
Yes, just hold where you are. I, as an event organizer in 2009 to 2010, I was able to be given the opportunity to organize Mr. and Miss Nairobi University of the entire 9 campuses together.
Yes.
And this is the first time I took the University of Nairobi to Carnival.
It's Carnival.
And people asking, how do you take these guys to Carnival? These guys are going to break glasses, they're going to break things. I told them, boss. Nairobi University has over 70, 100,000 students. Not all. And they're not bad people unless you irritate them.
Yes.
When the police goes with tear gas there, then they'll get irritated.
Yeah, they say police causes commotion.
Yes. So no single
Funny.
glass
Yes.
or no single nail
Yes.
was plucked from Carnival. They say this was one of the most successful beauty pageants. And this was, I was given the opportunity by the now, is it Embakasi East?
Yes. Honorable Babu.
Honorable
He's actually
Babu.
Dr. Honorable
Yeah,
Babu.
but was the president, we used to call it chairman.
Yes.
And the PS for lands, Nick Correa was the treasurer at that time. Brilliant. They bypassed Daktari Wamugunda and were able to get their money from Sonu to be able to do a beautiful event.
Yes.
3 years later, these guys tried to do an event at KICC. And the glasses, things were broken because then the protocol wasn't followed. Somebody got irritated because things were not done right.
Yes.
Last 2 years ago, I was invited at Bomas of Kenya to judge Mr. and Miss University of Nairobi. And I remember Babu, as a guest of honor. And he saw me from a very far says, this gentleman is a good man. He organized for me my event many years. So you guys are doing the right thing. So I think sometimes we need to get these young people to be able to, like you said, it starts from somewhere.
Yes.
If you have student leaders who have the mentality of the older generation, they're not able to achieve what the young people are looking for. So I know now, very unfortunate, I'm talking about Bomas, that the hall that I was there 2 years ago is no more.
It's no more.
It's no more. It's very sad. But we're still going back to the university where there's no support. I remember when we were growing up and we were on campus,
Yes.
Kenyatta University was the School of Art, where their vice chancellor then was Mr. Ishiwani. Ishimani believed in art. And that's where Ridiculous came from. The Mdomo Baggies.
They supported these guys,
They supported
even their
these
theaters.
guys, yes. I remember in 2009, when we were doing the Mr. and Miss University, this is the first time I was doing it. Jomo Kenyatta University was brought in 3 buses, and the head of delegation was the vice chancellor, Dr. Batemo. So you see, with that psych, the school develops the liking of this sport because people don't believe it's a sport.
Sure.
Now, like where you come from in Maranda, I believe in some places. Now there's so many universities, but when we were growing up, there were like 6 of them public universities. Some people, like if you come from Turkana, if you're in university, your word was low. And this is why we wanted to encourage these guys to understand that pageantry is like football. It's
Yes.
like any other sports, probably bigger than if it's well managed. You just mentioned the school of design,
Yes.
and we cannot live without clothes. If it's well managed, then a society will not cry for lack of jobs. I've noticed a lot of the misters and the kings
Yes.
either becoming designers or helping sell fashion
Yes.
because of what
Commercial modeling.
yes, commercial
Yeah.
modeling, because of
Yes.
what they learned when they're doing the pageantry. Now let's go ahead and now discuss your journey at the university as the Mr. and Miss University. How was it? You jumped from the Nairobi University that you thought, I'm now the boss. Now you get to Nairobi, you get to Mr. and Miss University. How was the experience?
Now, first of all, I would say that, like you said, all these concepts, they begin from somewhere. Now, when I went to Mr. and Miss Universities competition, yes, this is what happened. I got to meet these Misters and Misses from the various, say, Mr. and Kings and Queens
Yes.
from the various universities. And then something that stood out is the fact that these guys come in, there's a lot of confidence. There's a lot of confidence. I think this confidence also builds from self and also builds from support. Support is key. Support is key. Now, this is where I would actually even go back and address specific institutions that still do not understand how pageantry is really to the benefit of not just the individual, but even to the school. Because if we can't mention you as an institution that does inculcate even skills, that in the end of the day, the students can come outside here and there is a pool of, say, employment kidogo.
Yes.
And then you realize somebody has no skills to help them even tackle whatever is in the ground. That gets me to the point. Fashion and design. Please support these students, because it is as a form of employment. That gentleman I'm telling you about, that guy has now he has two offices, fashion offices, one in Nairobi, one in the Sharks. And he employs people who are working there. He's also created employment.
Yes, yes.
You understand? That aligns with even what is happening right now with the TVET. TVET, they're training boys and girls tailoring. This gentleman has two workshops, one in Nairobi, one. He's already created employment even for these guys, uko chini. You understand? And now, gets me back to where now the support.
Yes.
The guys are coming here from different universities and they have home support. They are supported well. You understand? The guys who have even stipends, monthly stipends, because they are ambassadors. There's a bit of ambassador. The reason why Kenya has an ambassador to Uganda, Kenya has an ambassador to Ethiopia, Kenya has an ambassador to South Africa, is because whatever it is in South Africa, they are good. Whatever it is in South Africa, they can always share it back to the home. And whatever it is that we have here, we can sell it outside there. Being a fashion ambassador for the University of Nairobi, I'm going to address University of Nairobi. You understand?
Yes.
It is a show of what University of Nairobi does inculcates. So myself, how I'm going to present myself outside there is going to define what the University of Nairobi has done in me in terms of fashion. Have they supported? Is like a parent supporting, their child. You understand? And today I'm going to be harsh on these institutions, but I hope it does help, because it should help. You understand? Development ya mtoi, a child's development begins from the parents. And now they get to primary, they're done with primary, go to secondary, and then they get to the university. At all these points, there's a point where there's a parent figure. At the university level, the institution is the parents. They become the parent
True, yes.
at that point. So if we are going to develop a skill within the university and we are not going to support that skill, there's a problem.
Right.
I get to the university, Mr. and Miss Universities competition, and guys have support. I said, get back to the point of support. And here I am. I have to, it is myself. It is I doing all it is in terms of, you see, I talked of the stipend bit because guys are able to, even just putting on. This is a student. Yeah. Apart from just what help does, you understand, which does that it does to even the other students. But now the just putting something for this on the side for student leaders, the way it is done to the student leaders, and now to even now fashion ambassadors. Say 80% of the kings and queens that I did meet had this kind of support from the university. When they're doing their creative wares, these are guys who are putting in money. They are putting in effort. And where there is effort, you must be sure there is money that is put in, even to, to facilitate all that bit. You understand? So that one, I can't lie to you. That's why people have to do better.
I noticed during a time,
Yeah.
the male models were keen on how they looked than the female model.
Yes.
I would not see anyone coming in jeans. These guys came in suits and it was a show of might.
Yes.
And I learned after that, most of the male models, it changed the perception on how a king needs to look.
Yes.
And we had a great choreographer then, Brian Kokasiago.
Oh, yes.
We insisted if you're a model, you must be a model. You must act the model. When you walk in the streets, and these guys will say, hey, this guy is not a boxer, this guy is a model.
They'll call you on the side and say, you're a model.
Yes.
It's not like that.
So there's a lot of input in terms
Yes.
of now the organization building you to the outside world.
Yes.
Now, we've done the Miss University. You've seen how much impactful it is, and how well, if you have resources, you can actually be a better king.
Yes.
There's intimidation when you feel somebody's coming in the Mercedes and you've come in walking because you didn't have fare to get to my office on Gold. But we try.
Route 11.
Yes, Route 11. We try very hard to make sure everybody's comfortable in Mr. and Miss University.
Yes.
There was some extracurricular that you guys were involved in. I think you went to Madare.
Korogocho. Yes.
I was looking at the video, you guys dancing with the kids deep in the slums.
Yes.
Some of those kids from USIU, from Catholic University, had never seen that part of the streets. So what was your experience when you go to Kibera to see that lady with so many kids, very sick and cannot afford, when you're doing a Kangware cleanup with the street kids in their homes? A lot of things probably you just saw the street kids, maybe when you're walking in town from eating chips at Sanford,
Sure.
but never seen those kiddos trying to transform and in a home. In these parts of the charity, did it take you aback that life is not what you see and you must change your life to be able to be that king? Tell us about your experience in that other side.
I think for me, coming to Mr. and Miss Universities Kenya, there is the bit of, like I say, there's a bit of having information, and then there's a bit of when now rubber meets the road. Now, coming to Mr. and Miss University of Nairobi helped me with understanding how now really the best way to even work around these things. I think from way back, I used to imagine that probably at some point I would start a children's home. Well, I wasn't raised so much in the bush. I was, most of my primary I was in Kisumu.
Yes.
So of course, street kids and everything else, I was able to see that. And also my neighborhood is just is a slum that you go to Kapo Karibu. There's Kondele and then there's Manyata. So I was able to also actually
See
do
that,
also
yes.
see all that bit. So I'm in touch with
The
that
reality,
bit,
yes,
that
yes.
reality. Yes, I know the highs and I also know the lows. But now, at this point, where we are able to really to be engaged in now these activities and understanding what is it that you bring to the table, what you bring really to in support of all this, I think that that bit MMUK did help me in a lot, so that I would know beyond just knowing it is there, this problem is there, but now really understanding what is it, what part can I play, and also elevating, these bits. It begins from your able leadership that I was because you did direct a number of these things. Because most of us, we just came in, like you said, there are guys who don't understand. They're coming in from these, other universities that do not understand. Like the other day, there was a politician on the TV. They didn't know what is retailing at what amount in the supermarket. Uko chini. There is more like let's see how this economy can work. But uko chini, there is that bit. So
yes.
even there's this information that wasn't there. A number of kings and some, not a number. I wouldn't say a number because I can't really place specifically, but of course there are some that also didn't get to know. So when we get to coming in together and also just sharing ideas and brainstorming, I was able to really come up with something that can work even to elevate this situation.
Great, very well put. Now we've done charity and stuff. There's a boot camp. I don't know whether it was your ear, but some people were not able to go to Mombasa for the boot camp.
Yes.
So we decided to do a boot camp at the office.
Hekima
Gardens.
Yes, yes.
That time I had a very big office on a 1 acre land. So we decided, no, everybody must fill the boot camp.
Yes.
We spent at the office with the tents and stuff like that. Were you part of that?
Yes, I was part of it.
What was the experience?
That was great. Thank you for taking me back then.
Yes.
And I also must appreciate that bit of consideration that you really did do for a number of us, I included, just to have to interact with these guys on levels just beyond the work. You understand, when we used to come for trainings, it's a catwalk, and probably there's also physical fitness. And now at this point, I think at the boot camp, this is when you actually also did bring in Burale, Pastor Burale, coming in to check on us and talk to us on grooming, on etiquette. And then also there's a bit of just the interaction. Just right now, me and guys I'm in fellowship with this, call it doing life. So doing life is the bit of just getting to understand people's perspectives regarding a number of topics that are not just really not specifically related to modeling, but also generally. So I get to really experience different mindsets and the brilliance that there is that you get from different universities, and how that can really help also twin mind in terms of also dealing with matters. There is also the bit of mental health. You get to understand how these things are done in different levels of institutions. So that was a lot of a 2-day. It's a lot.
Mind blowing. Yeah, thank you. I want the world to understand that we take you from the university to come and give you knowledge.
Yes.
of the world out there. So our last beauty pageant that we did with a boot camp, I think was in 2018, 2019,
2019.
just before COVID.
Yes.
We did it in Kisumu. We had the opportunity for the contestant meeting His Excellency Professor Anyang and his ministers and stuff like that. Which also was a mind-changing. At the boot camp, some of the contestants who do not understand the culture of the western part of Kenya.
Yes.
I took them out to have a meal by the lake where the fish was just fresh from the lake and the chicken was done as it is. So some have never seen.
They were actually overlooking the lake as
Yes,
well.
overlooking the lake. So some of them have never seen the chicken
Yes.
with the toes and stuff like that. So the guard from the mountain will not understand. They only see them in the Nigerian movies and see this juju. So the mix and change of culture was totally different. I remember a year before that, we also did the boot camp in Kisumu, and our manager at the office, Brian Otok, was one of the guys leading, because this is his home. A majority, almost 90%. I've never been to Kisumu. So one of the experiences that we do at Miss University is try and get you off. Either you're going to a different place to just learn. But tomorrow, if I leave campus and I'm thrown in Moyale, how do I relate with those people?
Sure.
So what was going back to our last pageant was in 2019, just before COVID, when we were able to have an opportunity to meet the president for the first time. This lady was going to Korea. And we very thankful for Uhuru Kenyatta, who understood the youth and gave us 5 air tickets for us to go to Korea, and $5,000 to the winner, which was grateful. And he said, whether you win or not, come back and we really discuss on how the youth can build this career. But then this was December of 2019. By February, March 2020, COVID was in, so we're not able to discuss anything. So we've not done the pageant in a big way.
Sure.
Then somebody took advantage, as Kenyans like taking advantage. There's something called Mr. and Miss University's Drama Festival, which has messed up the entire beauty of what we used to do, because this is done during Drama Festival, 2 days, 3 days, and it's done. They don't get the experience that we've been talking about.
Sure.
So this year we're going back, and we're doing Mr. and Miss University 360, where we want to do what it is. It's been absent since 2022. We did the Miss University Africa, because we also have the franchise for Miss University Africa. And the current winner is first runner-up Miss World. It says a lot on how we mold you to be able to face the world out there.
Ivy Treza.
And you'll be leading that part of the organization. We're asking the university kings and queens to be able to communicate and see what exactly is required. What do you expect from these guys this year?
Well, like it goes, it is a competition. Now, apart from it just being a competition, it is also more like building self beyond just understanding pageantry and understanding fashion from the surface level within the university. This is where you get to interact with also other intellectuals from different universities. So I wouldn't say that there's something that we expect much from them. Tunasemanga kwa really kingdom ya God nasemanga come as you are, as you are, but also come expectant. Yes, come as you are, but come expectant. This is where you get to hone yourself. This is where you get to interact with different, it is the forum that will actually build you in terms of self, in terms of your creativity. We realize there's a lot of potential. Like we say, there's a lot of potential. Even in this, when we see this number of pageantry, even university pageantry,